Only a few names make it to the top, and Steve Ballmer is one of them. The respectable former CEO of Microsoft and an active investor is now the seventh person to have a net worth of $100 billion. Yes, you heard it right. Sir Steve Ballmer has finally made it to the list of $100 billion clubs. And Ballmer's major achievement is only due to his advances in Microsoft's shares. Hence, his fortune has subsequently increased by $20 billion this year alone. The loyal dude who has a stock in the firm he founded and led for 14 years and has come a long way. However, coming this far was definitely not a cakewalk for the former CEO of Microsoft. Mr. Steve gave his all to be in this position and watch the world from above. Although he's undoubtedly at the top, he's still very down to earth. Today, Steve Ballmer is the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers basketball franchise and a successful retired businessman who's living his life. But have you ever wondered, how did he manage to make it till here? Hey guys, welcome to another informative video on our channel. In this video today, we'll be learning about the life struggles and success story of Steve Ballmer. But before we start, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us. Stephen Anthony Ballmer, famously known as Steve Ballmer, is a top-known American businessman who initially served as the CEO of Microsoft from January 2000 to February 2014. Mr. Ballmer is mentioned for his lively and joyful demeanor, which is supposed to excite his employees and active partners. Speaking of his long years at Microsoft, Mr. Steve worked with Microsoft for the first 34 years of his career. Spending 34 years of his life with Microsoft was indeed a cherishing experience for Ballmer. Additionally, working at Microsoft also gave Mr. Steve a look into his personal advancements and capabilities. As a matter of fact, Steve Ballmer was the company's 30th employee to be hired. Despite being so timid as a youngster, Steve Ballmer stepped out of his comfort zone and helped himself build his own path. Here's an interesting fact. Mr. Ballmer even underwent vocal cord surgery because he's said to have shouted and yelled so much. Well, if business takes it all, Ballmer was already up for it. Well, what was his reason behind shouting and yelling? I mean, let me ask you people, why would he not shout? Of course, any individuals who want to be noticed at extravagant stage appearances at Microsoft events are mandatorily asked to have an active loud voice. As a result, Ballmer's stage appearances at Microsoft events videos are shared as viral films on the internet. In the same reference, a spoof video prepared for Microsoft employees in 1986 promoting Windows 1.0 in the style of a Crazy Eddie commercial was one of his initial viral videos. Early life of Steve Ballmer. The American businessman was born in Detroit, Michigan to Frederick Henry Ballmer and Beatrice Dworkin on March 24, 1956. Born into a rich family background where his father was a wealthy Ford Motor Company executive, Steve Ballmer lived a privileged life. Growing up in Farmington Hills, Michigan, which is a very affluent and upscale suburb of Detroit, was a place filled with a good old lady for Mr. Steve and his only sibling Shelley, a child. Speaking of his early education, Steve Ballmer attended the Detroit Country Day School in Beverly Hills, Michigan, as a private college preparatory school. As he was a competitive individual since his childhood, Mr. Steve took difficult college prep courses at Lawrence Technological University during his high school years and also held the position of valedictorian of Detroit Country Day School for a good period of time. Steve Ballmer's career. Although Steve Ballmer was born and brought up in a rich household, he never took the help of his dad in finding jobs and settling down. Mr. Steve brought success to his footsteps by his only efforts and sweat. Before settling down with Microsoft, he worked with many reputable companies in a respectable position. Let's have a look at Steve Ballmer's career path. Steve Ballmer started off in Procter & Gamble, which is a consumer goods company based in the United States. Following graduation, Mr. Steve Ballmer worked for 2 years at Procter & Gamble as an assistant product manager, where Jeff Immelt, the future CEO of General Electric, shared an office with him. It was indeed a pleasing experience for Mr. Steve working in P&G. 2 years after Mr. Ballmer was shifted to Microsoft, Ballmer's move to Microsoft wasn't a usual deal, and you'll know why. After stepping out of Stanford Graduate School of Business to accept an offer from Bill Gates to join Microsoft as the 30th employee on June 11, 1980, after a brief artistic interlude producing screenplays in Hollywood. Then and there, Mr. Bill Gates appointed him as his first business manager. To no surprise, it was a bigger deal for Mr. Ballmer to be at the top position alongside none other than Bill Gates. During Microsoft's incorporation in 1981, the American businessman was instrumental in reorganizing the company. As a result, he was allocated 8% of the company's interests as part of the stock formation process. Mr. Ballmer kept all of his stakes until 2003 when he sold 39.3 million of them. Definitely, he was a business mind. However, it decreased his shares of the company to 4%, which he still owns today. Well, what did he do next? To be precise, Ballmer did invest time in other multiple business activities. He independently led a team of developers working on an operating system under a contract with IBM as Microsoft grew into a technical behemoth. As a result, his experience and guidance resulted in the development of MS-DOS and eventually Microsoft Windows. Following his many successes and profits for the firm, Mr. Ballmer was then put in charge of a group of in-house developers working on the .NET framework on February 1992. He was able to lead the .NET project as Executive Vice President of Sales and Support. Steve Ballmer's biggest and notable achievement was very near a dream that came into a reality for him. He was Microsoft's second-in-command from July 1998 to February 2001, reporting solely to then CEO Bill Gates. He was in this position when he began to examine the company's financial operations. He also learned about future technologies that Microsoft will need to compete in. Later, he became the CEO of Microsoft in January 2000. In addition, the company began to let developers explore a wider range of products under his guidance. Microsoft's legendary early contribution to game consoles, the Xbox, as well as the niche iPod competitor, the Zune, were included. As a result, Microsoft was a financial success under Ballmer's leadership. The company's annual revenue grew from $25 billion to $70 billion, with a 215% increase in net incomes. Besides, he did many things and created multiple businesses that have not so surprisingly affected his bank balance. Speaking of Microsoft's former CEO's private life, there's nothing much to talk about, as his private life is really very private. For a fact, a limited amount of personal information about Steve Ballmer and his family has been obtained by authorities. Some information includes his marriage life. In 1990, Steve Ballmer married Connie Snyder. They're still collaborators in charity initiatives today. His wife is a co-founder of Partners for Children, a nonprofit organization based in Washington. She has a history of volunteering for organizations as a public relations executive. Ballmer's support system and better half is currently a general partner at Blue Meridian Partners and a co-founder of the Ballmer Group. In addition, she's also a member of the boards of the Obama Foundation, Strive Together, and the Los Angeles Clippers Foundation. In 2019, the businessman's wife earned the Pioneer Award from the University of Oregon. She was also honored into the Hall of Fame of the School of Journalism. To be honest, the Ballmer family is a family full of achievements and honors. Ballmer's children clearly look up to their parents. Sam, Peter, and Aaron Ballmer are the three sons of Steve Ballmer and Connie Ballmer. All three of Steve's boys are known to have attended and graduated from college. Aaron Ballmer, his eldest son, has opted to live a more secret life, not disclosing his educational background, but it's assumed that he's pursuing an athletic career. In 2017, Peter Ballmer earned a bachelor's degree in computer science from Stanford University. Sam Ballmer earned a bachelor's degree in cognitive science from the University of Southern California. Like Ballmer, the guy himself, all of his children will surely make up to hit lists in the future. Meanwhile, discussing his net worth, Steve Ballmer's net worth has surpassed $100 billion, making him the ninth individual to hit the billion-dollar deal list. He's thought to own a 4% interest in Microsoft stock, or approximately 333 million shares. This, paired with the Los Angeles Clippers' $2.6 billion valuations, makes Steve Ballmer a very wealthy man. On the other hand, Steve Ballmer's achievements and awards are something to look at. Steve Ballmer's most notable achievement may be his celebrity. He has, however, been given a title and has only recently received respect for his fortune. He's the Knight of the Legion of Honor. In 2011, then French President Nicolas Sarkozy named Steve Ballmer a Knight of the Legion of Honor. As discussed earlier, he's the ninth person in U.S. history to reach the 100 billion thresholds, although it's not stable. Isn't that interesting? This was all about it. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more exciting content. See you in the next video.